Hello, and today we will play NeveN. We're going to start chapter 5 for Tenoch. I jumped to my feet, blinking in an attempt to recognize where I am. This isn't my room. I'm not at home. This is Tenoch's room. I'm still in his bed. A movement beside me tells me that he's awake as well. Panic, like a cold poison, immediately begins to flow through my veins. What if he decides to kill me? What if he burns me alive, here and now? He just has to say I attacked him first. Who would dare tell him he's lying? He's a future emperor, Kazal. I'm just a bard. It will only take him a moment. He'd only have to think about it and not be done for. I wouldn't even have time to react. My brain is too slow. I don't know how to activate it without thinking about it yet. And Eric. Tenoch's hands are on my wrist, slowly lowering them. I didn't even realize I grabbed them. I grabbed my ears again. Eric, look at me, please. I won't. I can't. Please. The almost pleading tone of his voice finally makes me turn my head. Then I look into his eyes. Well, I don't see any hostility there. Just concern. Concern for me. You'll be safe, I promise. Try to calm your breathing. Just focus on me. I realize that my breathing is jerky, so I try to calm myself down. I don't know why exactly, but staring into Tenoch's eyes helps me to do so. Eventually, I regain my composure, even though I'm not sure how long it takes, but Tenoch just stands there, his hands on mine, stroking them gently as he watches me. I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me, I don't. Hey there, no need to apologize. I think a little panic is more than justified after what we've seen. What the fuck was that? The answer to some of my questions, accompanied by a whole load of new ones. Cooper, that changes a lot of things. Although he tries to hide it, Tenoch is also visibly shaken by all this situation. He only adds gazillion to his sentences while he's really annoyed or worried in this case. So it's true, avatars and all that? Probably that would explain the nature of our plans at least. I didn't expect there would be 12 of us though. I didn't expect any of it. Do you really think some of them will try to kill the others? Honestly, I suppose so, but I don't think you have to worry about that, not right away. Not right now anyway. Why? You seem to forget that you are no longer a simple street bard. You are a member of the court of Frostfang, so you got quite a layer of protection around you. And I won't let anyone hurt you, I promise. He strokes my hands gently and smiles as reassuringly as he can. I have to admit that that's working. Not to mention that in his case, I know he's perfectly competent. In terms of raw power, the brand of Argon has always been the strongest and most dangerous. What can we do then? What must we do? I guess that warning the kings is probably our biggest priority. They need to know this is happening, don't they? I suppose. I don't like this moment of hesitation, Tenoch. It's more complicated than it sounds, Eric. You know who I am. I mean, who I really am. My loyalties don't lie with Frostfang. I must think of my kingdom above all else. Maybe it's still, but still too important to keep to yourself, and I tend to say it anyway, whether you do or not. He smiles at me briefly, and for a split second, I see something in his eyes that I don't like at all. Something that almost looks like contempt. I wasn't going to stop you. I was planning to tell them myself anyway. My problem is the amount of information I'm going to give them. No offense, Eric, but I think I've seen more than you have. I'm able to provide a more complete picture of exactly what's going on. I'm just trying to work out exactly what I should say and what I should keep for my nation. What harm would it do to share everything you know? Knowledge is power. If I have information that my opponent doesn't have, I can use it to my I can use it to advantage I can use it to influence events without him even knowing. But we're not opponents, are we? Wasn't one of your aims when you came to Frostfang to establish a lasting peace between our nations? Now's your chance, isn't it? Be straightforward. Show the kings that you trust them completely. I suppose. He reflects for a moment, then smiles at me again, but this time without a trace of superiority in his eyes. It seems I've underestimated you. You really are more than just a pretty piece of ass. It so happens that my head is as full as my butt is soft, darling. I don't know if I go that far. It's a particularly soft butt. As if to verify his words, I can feel his hand leave mine and move to my rear, squeezing it gently, which briefly reminds me of the absurdity of a situation. We are both naked and discussing politics in his bed. Tenoch, I know, don't worry, but it's probably going to be a long day. I got every right to enjoy the few good things it's going to give me. At least I'm part of the good things, I suppose. Oh, but you're the best and by far. He leans over and kisses me tenderly. I'm really not used to this aspect of his personality. And to be honest, I don't even know exactly what we are. What happened yesterday changed our relationship. There's no doubt about that, but I don't know in what way. And the fact that he's leaving in a few months' time doesn't help me get my bearings. We have to talk about it at some point, but not now. There are more pressing matters. Tenoch jumps out of bed and dresses quickly. I suppose wearing next to nothing helps to speed things up. We should go and warn the kings now. In the middle of the night, they'll want to know as soon as possible. Believe me. With a brief sigh, I also get up to put on my clothes. Well, after spending a moment searching around the room for them, we really didn't feel like wasting our time last night, I guess. Once dressed as appropriately as possible for the situation, we both set off for the royal wing of the castle. As we reach the entrance of the royal wing, I see two guards guarding the main entrance, a wolf and a bull. They give us a surprised look, both blocking us both. Lord Tenoch, Lord Eric, what a surprise to see you here so late. I request an audience with your majesties. I take note, my lord, the kings will be notified when they awaken. I fear we have no time to wait until then. I cannot wait their majesties unless it is an emergency. Good, because this is an emergency. In that case, you'll have to explain to me the reasons for it. Oh, by Argon. Listen, you got a choice. Either you go and warn Aeon and Lust now, or you explain to them why they had to wait all night to get a vital piece of information. Lord Tenoch, please understand that I do what they ask. If I were you, I doubt they'd be here at this hour without a good reason. We turn to look at Mabel, who is staring at us quizzically. You are loud, it woke me up. Malcolm, go and tell my fathers that we are waiting for them in the council chamber. Aye, very well, Lord Mayborn. The boy salutes the prince before disappearing into the corridor behind him, leaving the wolf as the only guard as we make our way to the council chamber. Do you mind if I ask what's going on? It'll be easier to explain once everyone is here. Hope is really important. It is, I promise. The bear gives me a sidelong glance before quickly inspecting me from top to bottom. Are you okay? You look a bit shaken up. It's complicated. You'll understand better once we've explained everything. Are you sure it'll be alright? Yeah, don't worry about me. The rest of the way is spent in silence until we reach the council chamber. That went as well as it could. I suppose that means you're satisfied with the treaty? I'm quite satisfied, yes. We now have a defensive alliance in place in case McCad tries anything, as well as several trade agreements that will improve both our economy and yours. Will your father be happy then? Ecstatic. I know it's something he wants as much as I do. I smile and try to offer him is it wait, the smile I tried to offer him is interrupted by a long yawn. Looks like this bunny needs some help. That went as well as it could. I suppose that means you're satisfied with the treaty? I'm quite satisfied, yes. We now have a defensive alliance in place in case Beckett tries anything, as well as several trade agreements that will improve both our economy and yours. Will your father be happy then? Ecstatic. I know it's something he wants as much as I do. The smile I tried to offer him is interrupted by a long yawn. Looks like this bunny needs some sleep. Will you follow me to my room? I'd love to, but if I really have to go out tomorrow, it's probably best if I sleep undisturbed in mine. In that case, Tenoch's tail suddenly wraps around my waist, pulling me close. Tenoch, what the? My question is silenced by the long kiss he gives me, and I feel myself melting in his arms. Now that's something I could really get used to. In that case, come and join me when you get back, okay? Alright. I start grinning like an idiot. I'm afraid I can't do that, sir. I smile more brightly as I press up against him briefly before backing away. I love to continue, but we must get some sleep. Off you go then. With a small gesture of the hand, I waved to him one last time, then walked towards my room with a light step. I feel tired but satisfied. I managed to convince Akira to let me sleep late when he tried to wake me early in the morning. I'm not sure how, but I'll consider that a victory. Hopefully it's not just because I looked more dead than alive when he saw me. Which makes me think I must have looked pretty bad during the council as well. Sometimes. I think Tenoch is lucky with his scales. You don't have to brush those things, and you don't have to make sure the fur hangs down just right so that... Eric, are you listening to me? Shit. I'm sorry, I can't. My mind was somewhere else. Are you sure you're alright? You don't look too good. We can go back to the castle if you're not well. I know I told you I wanted to see everything out there, but No. It's fine. Don't worry. I'm not that tired. I'll just go for a nap later. I told you we enjoyed the festivities, and I intend to do just that. I grabbed the falcon by the arm and pulled him through the streets of the capital, causing him to squeal in surprise. Around us are dozens of merchants from all over the country, as well as a few stalls displaying foreign products. They're all here for the prince's birthday and to make money off the backs of passers-by. Which, much to my dismay, seems to work perfectly on a cat who wants to try out absolutely everything he sees. So I'm also in charge of making sure he doesn't empty his entire purse today, which is strangely more complicated than one might think. A little tiredness is therefore acceptable, I think. Eric, I can walk by myself. Consider a safety measure. I wouldn't want to lose you in the crowd. I'm not a child anymore. Okay, you just spent the equivalent of a night in a cozy inn room on pastries. That they were so appetizing. As I'm about to answer him, I see a pair of antlers that I know very well sticking out of the crowd. Must admit I wasn't expecting to see him here. Hey, the cat. The antlers turn in my direction and come towards me after a brief pause. We are the antlers, and hopefully the rest of the stat's body too. It would be absolutely terrifying to have antlers floating through the air and heading straight for me. I really need to sleep. If it isn't the kingdom's favorite duo. Hello, Vacan. Hi, I didn't expect to see you here. Am I not allowed to have fun anymore? That's not what I meant. It's just that I didn't expect to see you in such a crowd. We usually wanted to be left alone, that's all. Maybe there's more to me than either you realize. I hope so. It would be sad if you knew everything about someone after just a few weeks. Exactly. But to be honest, I'm more surprised to see the two of you out here without any protection whatsoever. You're royal bards after all, and you are the bearer of the brand NeveN. It would be a shame if something happened to you. There's something not quite right. The cat is not behaving as usual. Well, there's nothing to worry about. We're being watched. But our guards are keeping a low profile, that's all. Yeah, don't worry. The first sign of trouble, they'll be there in less than a second. Trust me on that. Someone's already tried. Really? That's reassuring. So, I can continue to enjoy my day knowing that you are perfectly safe in the streets of our beautiful city. Is everything alright? You seem a little off. Just tired, that's all. That and what happened last night. A bit of rest and I'll be back on top condition. It's giving me a big grin and there's something in it I definitely don't like. Unfortunately, I have things to attend to and I wouldn't want to delay our visit. Oh, that's not a problem. We haven't really planned anything. As I said, I don't doubt for a second that we'll be seeing each other again soon. He greets us with a brief shake of his head before disappearing into the crowd, his antlers sticking out over the heads of the other passerbys. Do we agree that he wasn't in normal state? He said he was still tired, didn't he? I don't know, I just thought he was weird. I hope he's alright. It's true that he was acting strangely. We can visit him later if you like. That sounds like a good idea. I know he's been ill lately, so I really hope it's nothing serious. After a few more moments of hesitation, Akira and I start moving through the crowd again. Strange as it was, there's not much I can do about it at the moment anyway. As instructed by royalty, I'm trying to get people to see me so that I'm not dangerous, which given what I look like, requires no real effort on my part. When we eventually make our way back to the castle, the Falcon is now carrying a rather impressive number of packages in his arms, and the crowd is slowly dissipating. The heart of the festivities is in the middle of the capital, after all, which allows me to see a young ferret dressed in a stunning blue and black symbol approaching as he trots towards us at a brisk pace. Lord Eric, wants to speak with you. I cast a surprised glance at my companion, who looks back at me. What is it now? Sir, what can we do for you? I'm Lady Astrid's page. My name is Errol. It's a pleasure to meet you. Oh, I'm honestly not sure how to take this news. During our last discussion, Astrid was polite, but we still haven't exactly addressed our peculiar issue. Maybe that's what it's all about. Oh, pleased to meet you. Likewise, my lord. It's a great honor to be able to speak to the royal bards of Frostfang in such a manner. He's given us one of the biggest grins I've ever seen, and I can't help but reciprocate. Kids are my weakness. They're probably the best audience a bard can have. Well, Errol, do you want to talk to us? What do you have to say? He suddenly straightens up, slipping one hand behind his back while the other rests on his chest. I think he's trying to look as serious as possible, but his eyes are still sparkling with admiration for us. There's no denying it. He's adorable when he takes his role so seriously. Lady Astrid would like to invite you both to have tea with her late tomorrow morning. Astrid wants to have tea? What the? Oh, alright, I didn't see that coming. That would be a pleasure. I can tell your lady that we'll both be there. I cast a sidelong glance at Cat. We'll be there? I see no reason to refuse such an invitation. It wouldn't be very polite after all. So I shrugged before smiling at the boy. Alright, we'll be there. And we will also point out to Lady Astrid how well you have introduced yourself. You deserve a reward for your hard work. The Fed's face lights up even more, and his mouth seems to grow, which until now seemed impossible. Oh, thank you so much, Lord Cat. You can go and tell your lady now. Yes, my lord. I wish you an excellent day. And to you too. Have a good day. He bows to us one last time before heading back towards the castle, walking calmly at first before starting to run once he's far enough, probably thinking he can't see him anymore. He was quite sweet. From the look on his face, I think he likes us. I was wondering, do you know why Lady Astrid would like to invite us both? Not really. If it was just me, I understand we got things to talk about, but I don't know what she wants from you. Maybe something to do with our position. After all, we are the bards of the realm now. There will no doubt be nobles who will want to invite us to their parties. Given our history, I don't think I'm at the top of her guest list. The Mercadian nobles have no issue ignoring their personal problems if it brings them prestige. I'm pretty sure it must be the same here. She may have no alternative or 2 months to gain from our presence. Maybe I could always ask Tenoch for his opinion. He knows her much better than I do. And he gives me a sidelong glance. What? Nothing, it's just that. What's happening between you and the ambassador exactly? I understand that well, you know, but what is your relationship? You're getting intrusive, buddy. Sorry, it's just that I'm not sure I understand. Don't worry, I was just joking. I saw it escape my lips. The thing is, I'm not sure I can answer that. We fuck, obviously, but it's never been anything particularly relationship related for me, or for him for that matter. We're more than just friends, I think, especially after yesterday we said things that made the situation more complicated, but nothing's really official, you know? And there's the fact that he's leaving in a few months. That doesn't help either. And did you talk to him about it? Not really. It was never quite the right time. Eric, you can't postpone everything forever. You should talk to him. I know. I'll talk it over with him to understand where we stand. It's just that my last relationship didn't exactly end well, and I don't want to go through that again. I'd rather be cautious. I'm sure you'll be fine. Tenoch seems to love you. Oh, there are parts of me he particularly loves, that's for sure. Eric, give a cat an amused look. Pleased to see him blushing. But he's right. I need to talk to Tenoch. I knocked briefly on the ambassador's door. It's me. Come in, it's open. The answer is quick. Well, here I come. The lizard greets me with a big smile, sitting at his desk reading a series of parchments. Did you get some rest? Yeah, I also went for a walk in town with a cat. What about you? I decided to work instead. This avatar situation changes a lot of things. You need to rest. You need a rest too, you know? Don't worry about me. I know how to take care of myself. I'm sitting on the bed watching Tenoch. Over time, I've begun to see more and more of the serious aspect of his personality, and I've learned to appreciate it. I've been thinking about what Tess told us, and there are some things that don't quite add up. Did he lie to us? I don't think so, but unless I burn you the answers, I wouldn't really be able to check that aspect of his little game just yet. I really appreciate your willingness to hold back your desire to charm me. The place is mine. But no, I simply think that there are things that have been revealed, that have not been revealed, or innuendos that lead us to the wrong conclusions. I'm not sure I follow. Alright, let's start at the beginning. Why do you think the gods created avatars? If I follow what Tess told us correctly, it's so that we can kill each other to put on a show for them. Really? Because that's not what he said. In fact, he was extremely explicit about the fact that we were under no obligation to do so. Maybe it was pretty clear that it will happen. Laswell hasn't exactly hidden his intentions on the matter. Oh, I'm not saying it won't happen, just that it's probably not the real objective of the whole process. Think about it. If all the gods want is a huge clash between powerful brand users, they've royally screwed up. We don't have to fight each other. We could very well decide to remain peaceful after this little meeting. Not to mention the way we're spread out. Gawain is probably at the other end of the continent. It will take her weeks, perhaps even more than a month, to get here. That's only if she knows how to use her brain. If I had to organize a series of fights to the death, this is exactly how I go about it. So the gods have another agenda behind us. I'm having a bit of trouble seeing what it is, though. If we represent them, maybe it's just to increase the power of their cult. I mean, I'm a royal bard. You're the future emperor. Telso is potentially the future god king. These are major positions from which can reach quite a few people. Possible. I don't think it's within our grasp to understand the will of the gods after all. And to tell you the truth, there's another question which is a far more concern to me. Is that so? This issue seems pretty important to me. Oh, but the other one is just as relevant. What does Tess want? He clearly knows a lot more than he's letting on. Besides, if you take his brain into consideration, and from the way he talks, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a lot older than he looks. Not to mention the little trick he performed for us, his demonstration of power. When he tried to convince us not to look for him, I think he actually had the exact opposite in mind. I can assure you that after that, I have absolutely no desire to look for him. Not you, but I think that, for the rest of us, he presented himself as a challenge. The challenge in question isn't in your favorite domain, but I think you know how you react if someone wanted to prove to you that they sing better than you. I now understand. Not to mention the way he uses power. If that scared some people, I think Illyria's reaction was a lot closer to what he was really after. Anger. He wants people to come for him, and he wants them to try to fight him, maybe in order to kill them and improve his powers. That sounds more likely to me. However, his brand already seems extremely powerful. What could he possibly want to do with even more power? And silence ensues. A lot of questions, but few answers yet. But that doesn't mean we can't find out anything. Tess was very clear that this wasn't the first time the 12 avatars have been there. There must be traces of that somewhere, right? Even if it is in the form of tales or legends, I'm sure if I thought about it, I could find folk songs that are actually about avatars. That's not a bad idea. I could ask someone to look into it in the archives. Now, you can see I'm useful. Oh, I never doubted it. There's a reason why I took you with me, after all. Took you. What am I now, a pet? You know what I meant, but now that you mention it, in the right context, oh, no, sir. That's out of the question. I'm the one holding the leaves, not the other way around. I'm not necessarily against the idea. He gives me an amused smile before returning to his papers, but it surely didn't fall on deaf ears. That's information I could use. But to get back to the more urgent subject, I doubt there's much more we can guess about his immediate plans. That said, we're in an advantageous position. He probably needs us to leave the castle in order to act. He won't reach us in a stronghold. He signs a document before opening a small box on his desk. Then he takes out what looks like a ring and puts it on his finger. Next, he picks up what seems to be a red candle. What are you doing? It's a letter to my father to explain what's going on. I don't usually take the time to seal them, but I want to make sure he's the only one reading it. He then briefly activates his brand, melts the top of the candle, which he proceeds to place against the rolled parchment to drip the wax onto it. He then places his ring on the parchment, forcing lightly to imprint the seal on the substance. Can I have a look? I'm curious to see what it looks like. Of course, it's not really a secret. I stand up to peer over his shoulder, staring at the rapidly hardening red wax. The seal depicts a dragon taking flight, topped by 3 stars shining in the sky. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. You know what you want, can't deny it. The dragon has always been the symbol of the Emperor's family. The stars, on the other hand, are my own little addition, a way for me to keep my goal in mind. He smiles at me, and I can feel his tail wrap around my ankle, stroking it tenderly. I slide my hand down his neck to do the same, slowly sliding my fingers along his scales. It feels so different to fur. It's so smooth. The brief discussion I had with a cat comes to mind. I suppose this is a good time as any to bring this up. Tenoch, there's something else I'd like to talk to you about, as long as you don't stop what you're doing. Well, there's something to do with that. What do you mean? I just like to know where we stand. Where am I to you? It's obvious that it's not just sex, not anymore. There's more to us than that, but I don't know exactly what we are. You and me, and the fact that you're leaving in a few months' time doesn't really help me understand the situation. I just don't want to start believing something that only exists on my side, that's all. I see. His tail releases my ankle, and he turns to face me, a slight smile on his lips. He looks into my eyes, then grabs my cheeks and strokes it gently. In that case, I can reassure you, it's not just on your side. I love you very much, Eric. I don't know if it's meant to last until we die, and I can't quantify that. I can't quantify it. But I do know that I want you, with all your flaws and all your qualities. But you'll be leaving soon. Weren't you the one who told me to enjoy life while I'm here? I'm going to leave, sure, but in the meantime, I've got all that time with you. It would be a shame to spend it dreading the end of it, don't you think? I don't like the idea of having a relationship that's finite. It doesn't have to be the end. Who knows what might happen in the meantime. We might realize that we're not functioning well together and end it all sooner than we thought. Or you might be sent to Kazal with me. We might also both have fun. We might also both have the one. And then even if we are separated, that doesn't necessarily mean we won't see each other again. I can write you letters. You can try to visit me at the court. I can't read or write for that matter. He gives me a surprised look before smiling again. I have to add that to the list of things I have to teach you. Fortunately, Faustian is quite simple. But what I mean is, there's no point in worrying about that just yet. Well, we'll see how things turn out then. In the meantime, we just make the most of what we got, right? Exactly. I made the most of you being mine. And I make the most of you being mine. He smiles fondly at me before bringing his muzzle forward to kiss me, so I indulge. For a moment, my thoughts race through my head. Before finally calming down, I realize he's right. I know I'm enjoying having him all to myself, so I might as well embrace it. I then return Tenoch's kiss by pressing myself against him, which elicits a slight grunt of satisfaction from him. His hands slowly slide down my back, caressing it until they finally reach their goal and begin to massage my ass. For my part, I take the time to slide my fingers down his torso, emphasizing his musculature and enjoying the softness of his scales. We prolong the kiss, our tongues mingling and licking each other, as our hands continue to exploit the other's body until someone knocks on the door. At first, we try to simply ignore it, but it seems that the person on the other side doesn't want to leave and knocks again. Tenoch eventually pulls away with a grunt before heading for the door. This better be important, or I'll sue you. I'm burning your clothes to the ground. Can you do that? I can try. He offers me a brief smile before opening the door. What? Oh, Edwin, I wasn't expecting a visit from you. Tenoch, as always, it's a pleasure to see you. May I come in for a moment? I have some documents to give you, and I'd like to talk to you about recent developments. The lizard moves away from the door to let the scroll through, and the latter enters the room with a few scrolls of parchments under his arm. Once he's aware of my presence, he gives me a most surprised look. Eric, I must admit that I wasn't expecting to see you here. Lord Tenoch and I were discussing about my brand. You know, he's the one who's been training me, right? Oh, of course, I just find it amusing that you seem to be everywhere these days. I don't like his tone, and from the brief expression Tenoch is showing behind Idrin's back, neither does he. The squirrel doesn't wait for an answer and sits down on the sofa in the bedroom, settling down gently before heaving a sigh. You must forgive me, gentlemen, but alas, my old legs are no longer fit to traverse the castle. But of course, Idrin, make yourself comfortable. Can I get you something to drink? I'd be delighted to have some tea if you have any. Of course. Tenoch takes a pot of water and heats it with his brand while the squirrel turns his attention to me while his drink is being prepared. Eric, I haven't yet had time to congratulate you on your performance yesterday. I must say it was unique and extremely impressive. Oh, thank you. I wasn't alone, though. A cat is also a big reason for the success of our show. Oh, of course, but you must admit that the highlight of the show was the use of your brand. The idea of being able to freeze things in such a manner is impressive. I'm not praising or bless. Here's your tea. Oh, thank you very much. Tenoch sets the tea down in front of the squirrel. He gently takes the cup between his paws before blowing on it, taking a sip. It's truly delicious. You Kazillions really know how to use the best plants for your concoctions. Or it's just a simple mixture. You should come to my home in the Empire one day if you really want to taste the best teas in the world. Maybe I should take you up on that offer. He takes another sip before putting down his cup. But I'm not here just for tea. I have with me a copy of the agreement between our two nations, duly signed by our kings. I was expecting you to bring it to me personally. A document of such importance deserves my full attention. Not to mention that I wanted to ask you about something that struck me as quite peculiar. What is it? Is it astonishing that the treasurer of the realm was not invited to take part in this discussion while the royal boy was present? How do you know that I was there? You are mentioned as a witness to the agreement. I invited him to the reunion. You need to learn the basics of politics after all, and this seems like a good opportunity. Of course. I can't help but wonder. I'm sure you understand. An agreement of such importance finally concluded after months of discussion at a meeting in the early hours of the morning with no member and the council present. Well, the council. I didn't mean to insult you, but as Lord Tenoch pointed out, you're still learning the ropes. True, but I'm still a member of the Royal Council, whatever you may think of it. What's more, as the name suggests, we only give counsel to our kings. All final decisions are theirs. I know that as well as you do, but boy. It was simply the right moment, Idrin. We were already talking to their majesties for private reasons, and we took the opportunity to conclude the agreement. We had ample opportunity to discuss most of the agreements in your presence. After all, it was simply a matter of finalizing the last remaining details. Of course, as I said, I was just curious. You'll have to excuse me for asking. However, I couldn't help noticing that this agreement seems to be extremely directed against Makad. Doesn't that seem like a risk to you at the moment? What do you mean? A convoy of Makadian diplomats and merchants was attacked not long ago, and now we are signing a military alliance with Kazal while providing them with exclusive access to some of our best metal suppliers. An outsider might see this as preparation for an assault on their territory. But this is not the case. The deal had already been in the works for months, and the attack had nothing to do with phosphate. Oh, I know all that, of course, but I think that's where your lack of experience comes in. You should never assume that others accept our reality as theirs until they have officially confirmed it. Appearances are as important as facts. If McCall thinks that this agreement was put forward quickly in response to the attack on the convoy, it will be difficult to convince them otherwise. So what? They will take that as a provocation, as a proof that the attack was deliberate? It's a possibility. However, McCall's reaction so far has been most bizarre. They have accepted the apology almost unconditionally. They have not even sent an investigative unit to verify your claims. Something's going on there. From the reports I'm getting, everything seems perfectly normal in their kingdom. Perhaps we should simply accept that they are acting in good faith, at least on this matter. Blindly trusting McCall has never brought any good. But we are now allies that should quell any military attempt on their part, so that even they wouldn't be so reckless as to want to try and take on Phosphine and Gazelle at the same time. In theory, yes, but there may be other unknown factors that could change things radically. Tenoch gives me a knowing look, and it's not hard to work out what he means. The presence of an avatar in the armed force could make it incredibly more powerful. To my next preoccupation, rumors are circulating in the corridors about the investigation to the attack on the convoys finally making progress. Really, that's good news. Do we know who organized this? If the stories circulating among my many assistants are true, some objects belonging to the convoy have been found in the bedroom of one of the members of our court. And that's true, it would mean that we finally have our culprit. And that's where it gets interesting, isn't it? Again, this is all to be taken with a grain of salt, but it is claimed that a bracelet and several documents belonging to one of the Mercadian diplomats were found in the room of someone close to the kings. And it would appear that this person is none other than Lord Luster's lady-in-waiting herself. Simi, she would never do such a thing. I'm only reporting what I hear. It's up to you to believe it or not. That's certainly food for thought. I can hardly believe it. Simi organizing all this operation. I know she's more than the little grandmother she appears to be, but I can't see her pulling off that kind of feat. I don't see what she would have to gain either. Ethan rests his cup on the table before standing up. I'm afraid work is calling again. Managing the finances of a kingdom is an endless endeavor. Thank you for the tea, Ambassador Tenoch. You know perfectly well that each of your visits is a pleasure, Treasurer. Please come again whenever you please. I shall not hesitate to do so. As for you, Eric, I dare to hope that we will meet again soon. I'm sure we will, at the next council meeting at the latest. Perfect, gentlemen. I wish you all a good day. We greet him briefly before closing the door behind him. Tenoch then collapses into his bed with a grunt. Is it that bad? As it complicates everything. You don't really think Siri killed those Mercadians, do you? Of course not. Firstly, because if she did, she would never be stupid enough to keep evidence in her room. And secondly, there's the fact that she is far too loyal to the kings in the kingdom to do anything so stupid. Her hatred of the Mercadians is strong, but not that strong. Is that where the rumor is coming from? Is it just that people know she hates McCall? I doubt it. If Ethan is willing to talk about it so openly, he's probably already been able to confirm that the rumor is true. So if it's not her, but someone really did find this sort of stuff in her room, someone's trying to pin it on her. Probably. But why her? Well, for a start, it's probably the worst kept secret in Phosphine that simply runs the country's intelligence operations. Although I suspected something like that, it's a bit disappointing to learn that everyone seems to know about it. I thought I'd discover a secret on my own. But I think the real reason probably lies in her links with the royalty. She's a friend of the kings and pretty much a member of the family. From what I understand, she raised NeveN as much as they did. So in the objective to remove an essential part of the court and a loyal ally to the kings all in one move, is even worse than that. If Simi is officially accused, Aeon and Lust will find themselves in an extremely delicate situation. If the kings refuse to convict their friend, it will look like preferential treatment. They will no longer be able to pretend they are being fair and just. But at the same time, if they accuse her, they will show that they cannot protect their allies. That's a general idea, yes. So basically, whatever they do in the situation, they lose. The real objective is to weaken the position of royalty. That's not necessarily an idea that reassures me. Aeon and Lust are the first of their dynasty, after all. They took the throne barely 20 years ago. If there's one thing I've realized since I've been here, is that their power isn't as stable as it looks from the outside. They clearly don't need this kind of trouble on top of everything else, especially combined with the worries that avatars could cause. So the question arises, who could possibly have organized all this? It's got to be someone with access to the castle. I imagine it has to be an important person behind this whole operation, doesn't it? It's not somebody just anyone could set up. Tenoch scratches his chin briefly before looking at me with a smile. I don't like that expression. I have a feeling I'm going to have to pull off some complicated stuff again. You know what? I got my own ideas, but I'm curious to hear yours. Let's think of it as political training. Tell me who you think is behind this situation. And if your ideas are correct, I'll give you an appropriate reward. Do you really want to turn this into a game? Why not? Nobody said it was impossible to work while having fun, not to mention that I know it is what makes you the best. Not to mention that I know it's what makes you think best. And let out alongside. Alright, let's play. Whoever's trying to frame Simi is probably also the one who organized the attack. They will explain where he got the evidence he planted in the room. He? Or C, if you prefer. Wait, does that mean you think that our culprit is a C then? Nah, sorry, I was only saying that to blur the trail. Go on, I'm curious to see how your pretty little head works. Compliments won't always be enough, you know? But they're enough for now. Anyway, as I was saying, if you're looking for just one person, it's bound to be someone who not only has a lot of resources, but who also lives in the area. The attack required a lot of preparation, so it can't be someone who could just come from the competition or the festival. The problem is that it doesn't really narrow down the field of possibilities. It could be any nobleman or merchant in the capital. So far, so good. Think you'll be able to narrow it down a bit more? To be entirely honest, there's something enjoyable about this little game. It's not necessarily something I get to do very often. Let's see, the person we are after knows where Simi's room is, but they probably didn't take the risk of asking for directions in the palace. So that means they at least know their way around the castle, which indicates that they are probably a noble. He has at least been invited here before, more likely someone who lives here or has lived here for some time, and someone who has a hatred for McCann. And, well, honestly, that doesn't eliminate many people. Practically all the old families were involved in one way or another in the last war. Are you sure about that? Yes, McCann has always been Phosophate's main adversary, as far as I know. I'm going to help you a little here. Even if on paper you're right, the reality is a bit more complicated. It's true that on the whole, your two nations are quite opposed. You still need each other. And McCann has tried to invade you several times in the course of its history. It's not just to extend its territory, they need your resources, especially your forests. Don't forget that a large part of their land is desert. Yeah, but we don't need them, not financially anyway. As a state, no. But they produce two things that the local nobles absolutely can't live without. Gold and luxury goods, wines, fabrics, jewelry. Most of the local exotic products come from McCann. Present a pretty jeweled necklace to the new nobility, and suddenly the fact that the gems and silver used to make it stem from slavery doesn't matter so much to them. Like even at the first council meeting I attended, he proposed reopening the Inkstone mines to sell some to McCad, but the fact that they would be used on slaves didn't cross my mind. Or to put it more simply, he doesn't care if you were to agree to sell these stones again. Phosphate could make a fortune from them. Are they really that powerful? I've never seen one. Tenoch gives me a surprised look. Of course you have. Don't you know? Don't know it? It wasn't in natural use, but you've seen it, alright. I'm pretty sure that if someone was walking around with one of the most heavily regulated products in the kingdom, I know about it. Unless whoever has it also the one who put the ban on inkstones to begin with. He smiles at me before tapping his head with his fingertip. You must have noticed our dear King Aeon's earring, the one with the little black gem. You mean, it's an inkstone. As far as I know, he never uses it, but he wears it all the time. That's probably so he can activate it if absolutely necessary. Although I struggle to see when someone with so much natural power could possibly need the power of an inkstone. The counter avatars, we're supposed to have that kind of strength, aren't we? I agree, but he was wearing his earring long before he knew they existed. A bit hypocritical of him, then, to forbid others what he allows himself. It's the privileges of royalty, not to mention that I doubt Aeon is doing it just for fun. Don't forget that he is first and foremost a warrior, much more than he is a ruler. It's probably for his own protection in the event of an attack. I find it hard to believe that anyone would try to attack him. Him and Lust took power by force. Not everyone agrees with that. We were getting away from the main subject. That's true. We were talking about potential culprits. It's just that your sentence made me think of NeveN and the council. And just a sec. Speaking of the council, the mood of the one where we discussed McCatt's response to the attack on the convoy was also strange. A sudden realization occurs to me. McCatt's reaction is odd, isn't it? Or rather, their lack of reaction. The fact that they didn't send anyone or ask for compensation is one way of describing it. What if it's because they planned it that way? What if they already knew it was going to happen? Well, now you've lost me. The attack forced us to give a hefty compensation in gold to the families of the dead diplomats, and now someone close to the royal family is being framed for the attack. More than that, from what you tell me, Simi was their spy-in-chief, and someone who hates Mercadians on top of that. They weakened the royal family, potentially deprive them of their biggest source of information and gain wealth in one move. And best of all, they accomplished all this while making everyone feel like they are the victims of this scandal. All they need is a traitor on our side to help them. And now that I think about it, that's not even the case. It could have been one of the Mercadians who stayed at the castle after the contest. I raised my head to look at Tenoch, a big grin on my lips. I bet he hadn't thought of all that. The look he gives me back, however, isn't one of absolute admiration for my intellect as I had hoped. It's more of a mixture of amusement and doubt. That's certainly an interesting theory. What? It's a possibility, isn't it? It's possible, yes, but rather unlikely. Although all this situation does put the kings in a difficult position, still, this is an internal problem. None of this is enough to provoke any external reactions, at least for the moment. You're right in the sense that Simi's demise is beneficial for them, but she's not irreplaceable. She's more than clever enough to have already planned several replacements if something like that happened to her. So, I'm wrong about everything? Not necessarily. Your reasoning is quite correct. I just don't think you have enough information or experience in the field to judge how probable it is. In other words, I'm still a naive little rabbit, aren't I? I wouldn't go that far. After all, I'm sure that a few weeks ago none of this would have occurred to you. I'd say your problem is more that you take one solution and focus on that, which makes you lose sight of other possibilities. Let's go back to the beginning of our discussion. You assume that the person who committed the attack and the person who planted the evidence in Simmons' room are the same. That might not be the case, but they found items that belonged to the victims of the attack that may have been fabricated or recovered from the site during the investigation. However, you have a point. McCann's lack of response is really odd. It's hiding something. I don't think they're involved. So, do you have any ideas who might be behind this? Several, but none of the answers are totally satisfactory to me. The people who will have the easiest time organizing such an operation would be the members of the council. You have continuous access to the castle, and more than enough resources to be able to set everything up. But I find it hard to see any of you planning this sort of thing. Bo simply has nothing to gain. He has little interest in the affairs of the realm so long as they do not directly concern the brands or other religious matters. As for Astrid, I know her better than anyone else. I could almost say we're friends now. Really? Really. I know you two have a history, but she's a reasonable person. She just has a tendency to get a bit insulting and a bit fiery without meaning to. Like doing our little party before the competition. That's a good example, yes. I think she also enjoyed the alcohol a little too much during the evening. This didn't help. But that narrows our list of suspects down to NeveN, and although he's the most likely of our culprits, I find that hard to believe too. Why would he be more likely than the others? He seems harmless enough to me. Someone who's betrayed once will have no problem doing it again. NeveN, a traitor? It's a long story, but when Lust and Aeon laid siege to Frostfang, it would probably have taken them weeks, if not months, to bring the castle down. That would have given the nobles outside time to gather troops and pin them down. However, someone betrayed the former king by opening the door to them, and it was thanks to NeveN that they were able to get in. Exactly, he betrayed his former allegiance to our current kings. It's a good thing in the end, isn't it? As far as I know, Aeon and Lust are the best kings we've had in a long time. Oh, absolutely. The fact remains that he broke his word and betrayed his lord once. Who knows if he might do it again or not? But you don't really think it could be him? No, I don't see what he would gain from it. At the moment, I don't have anything concrete on the old scroll. In all honesty, the person most likely to solve this whole mess at the moment is probably Mayborn. I don't want to insult him or anything, but he's never really struck me as a genius. He seems more like a great warrior. You know, the big voice, the armor and all that. His appearance is a lot less. The prince's mind is as sharp as his axe. I let myself fall onto Tenoch's bed, sprawling out on top of him. I don't think I cut out for that sort of thing. It's a matter of getting used to it. I'm sure you'll end up getting the hang of it and finding your way around. After a while, it becomes a reflex to think like that. But maybe I just don't want it to become a reflex. I came here to sing and entertain the crowds, not to discuss murder and machinations. Tenoch lies beside me, plunging his gaze into mine as he gently strokes my arm. At the same time, he gives me a tender smile that's hard for me not to give back. Unfortunately, this is often the case. We're sent down roads we haven't planned to take. I wasn't supposed to be my father's heir. I never should have been. Nor was I supposed to come here, unable to bear the warmth of my own home, and yet here I am. It's up to us to make the most of the opportunities that present themselves on these unforeseen roads, and it's up to us to adapt to where we stand. Not to mention that the unexpected isn't all that bad. Without all this situation, I would never have found myself here, next to one of the most attractive rabbits I've ever seen. And it would have been a shame to miss such an opportunity, wouldn't it? I don't know how you always manage to find the words to cheer me up. I'm not a warrior. Fighting is not my strong point. My brain does most of the work in that respect. However, my specialty which consists of two things, words and people. Believe me, I'm more than happy to use my skills to help you. We're closer to each other than you might think, after all. That's probably why we work so well together. He brings his face closer, places his lips on mine to exchange a kiss with me. I then snuggle up to him, enjoying his presence while letting out a small sigh of satisfaction. He's right, it doesn't matter if our relationship is sore. It doesn't matter that we both know it could not last. What's important, what really matters above all else is how I feel now with him as I cuddle in his arms. What really matters is that in this very moment I'm happy. To be continued. Hello everyone. Let me go back. Hello everyone. I hope you enjoyed this chapter. If you want more information about NeveN, feel free to follow us on Twitter. We also have a Discord allowing you to chat among community members. Finally, if you would like to support our project, we also have a Patreon that offers you a series of benefits such as bills 2 weeks in advance, but also unique stories about the characters in NeveN. If you like the VM, please also feel free to rate us on itch.io. It will help us out a lot. Once again, a big thanks to all of you, and see you soon. Okay, so it could be NeveN who planted those items. Then he and Simi were working together or something. Like when we read NeveN's chapter 5, that the two of them were working together or something. It might have been NeveN, but again, maybe not. It could have been the nobles, because in one of the earlier chapters, during that council meeting, we learned that the old nobility don't like the kings very much. They force their way into power in Frostfang. So all the old nobility very much do not like the kings. I mean, they serve them, but they don't like them very much. And the cab was acting very strange, probably because of the whole incident that happened. The Mercadian merchants and all the Mercadian merchants and diplomats being killed out in the wild while traveling. So I guess that's still on his mind. And kind of weird that Mercad hasn't reacted that much to their officials and being killed. Kind of strange. Maybe maybe the kid who is in line to become emperor, maybe somebody took his advice to take things in a more peaceful way, because it was mentioned that he wanted to be more benevolent towards the slaves, and he wants things to be conducted in a more peaceful manner. So maybe somebody in Mercad decided to take his advice, or maybe there's something sinister. There's something sinister to what Mercad is doing by not reacting. Anyway, so what else? About Eric and Tenoch. I hope something works out in the end where they still get to see each other. Maybe somehow Tenoch is able to stay in Frostfang, or maybe he is able to take Eric to Kazal, or maybe they say goodbye for a while and then they either reunite later on. I mean, those are the possibilities. Because I would hate for it to be like a goodbye forever type of situation where they just say goodbye and they never see each other again. But as sad as it is, that's how a lot of relationships in the world have gone. I mean, You got two people who really like each other very much and may love each other, but for reasons they cannot be with each other permanently. They have to go their separate ways out of duty. So I hope the two of them are able to stay together. I hope if they have to say goodbye, hopefully it's temporary and they get to see each other again. Okay, so that's chapter 5 for Tenoch. Like I did with NeveN, I skipped all the stuff that we played in a cat's chapter 5. If you want to see the full events of chapter 5, you can play the cat video for chapter 5 for NeveN and Tenoch and the cat. I'm just gonna skip the main parts and focus exclusively on them. So next month will be the cat's chapter 5. So thank you all very much for watching. Bye. Hello, and today we will play NeveN. We're going to start chapter 5 for tonight. I'm jumping to my feet, blinking in an attempt to recognize where I am. This isn't my room. I'm not at home. This is Snot's room. I'm still in his bed. A movement beside me tells me that he's awake as well. Panic, like a cold poison, immediately begins to flow through my veins. What if he decides to kill me? What if he burns me alive, here and now? He just has to say I attacked him first. Who would dare tell him he's lying? He's a future Emperor Kazal, and I'm just a bard. It will only take him a moment. He'd only have to think about it and not be done for. I wouldn't even have time to react. My brain is too slow. I don't know how to activate it without thinking about it yet. And Eric. Tenoch's hands are on my wrist, slowly lowering them. I didn't even realize I grabbed them. I grabbed my ears again. Eric, look at me, please. I won't. I can't. Please. The almost pleading tone of his voice finally makes me turn my head. Then I look into his eyes. Well, I don't see any hostility there. Just concern. Concern for me. You'll be safe, I promise. Try to calm your breathing. Just focus on me. I realize that my breathing is jerky, so I try to calm myself down. I don't know why exactly, but staring into Tenoch's eyes helps me to do so. Eventually, I regain my composure, even though I'm not sure how long it takes, but Tenoch just stands there, his hands on mine, stroking them gently as he watches me. I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me, I don't. Hey there, no need to apologize. I think a little panic is more than justified after what we've seen. What the fuck was that? The answer to some of my questions, accompanied by a whole load of new ones. Cooper, that changes a lot of things. Although he tries to hide it, Tenoch is also visibly shaken by all this situation. He only adds Kazalian to his sentences while he's really annoyed or worried in this case. So it's true, avatars and all that? Probably that would explain the nature of our plans, at least. I didn't expect there would be 12 of us, though. I didn't expect any of it. Do you really think some of them will try to kill the others? Honestly, I suppose so, but I don't think you have to worry about that. Not right away. Not right now, anyway. Why? You seem to forget that you are no longer a simple street boy. You are a member of the court of Frostfang, so you got quite a layer of protection around you. And I won't let anyone hurt you, I promise. He strokes my hands gently and smiles as reassuringly as he can. I have to admit that's working. Not to mention that in his case, I know he's perfectly competent. In terms of raw power, the brand of Argon has always been the strongest and most dangerous. What can we do then? What must we do? I guess that warning the kings is probably our biggest priority. They need to know this is happening, don't they? I suppose. I don't like this moment of hesitation, Tenoch. It's more complicated than it sounds, Eric. You know who I am. I mean, who I really am. My loyalties don't lie with Frostfang. I must think of my kingdom above all else. Maybe it's still, but still too important to keep to yourself, and I tend to say it anyway, whether you do or not. He smiles at me briefly, and for a split second, I see something in his eyes that I don't like at all. Something that almost looks like contempt. I wasn't going to stop you. I was planning to tell them myself anyway. My problem is the amount of information I'm going to give them. No offense, Eric, but I think I've seen more than you have. I'm able to provide a more complete picture of exactly what's going on. I'm just trying to work out exactly what I should say and what I should keep for my nation. What harm would it do to share everything you know? Knowledge is power. If I have information that my opponent doesn't have, I can use it to influence events without him even knowing. But we're not opponents, are we? Wasn't one of your aims when you came to Frostfang to establish a lasting peace between our nations? Now's your chance, isn't it? Be straightforward. Show the kings that you trust them completely. I suppose. He reflects for a moment, then smiles at me again, but this time without a trace of superiority in his eyes. It seems I've underestimated you. You really are more than just a pretty piece of ass. It so happens that my head is as full as my butt is soft, darling. I don't know if I go that far. It's a particularly soft butt. As if to verify his words, I can feel his hand leave mine and move to my rear, squeezing it gently, which briefly reminds me of the absurdity of a situation. We are both naked and discussing politics in his bed. Tenoch, I know, don't worry, but it's probably going to be a long day. I got every right to enjoy the few good things it's going to give me. At least I'm part of the good things, I suppose. Oh, but you're the best and by far. He leans over and kisses me tenderly. I'm really not used to this aspect of his personality. And to be honest, I don't even know exactly what we are. What happened yesterday changed our relationship. There's no doubt about that, but I don't know in what way. And the fact that he's leaving in a few months' time doesn't help me get my bearings. We have to talk about it at some point, but not now. There are more pressing matters. Tenoch jumps out of bed and dresses quickly. I suppose wearing next to nothing helps to speed things up. We should go and warn the kings now. In the middle of the night, they'll want to know as soon as possible. Believe me. With a brief sigh, I also get up to put on my clothes. Well, after spending a moment searching around the room for them, we really didn't feel like wasting our time last night, I guess. Once dressed as appropriately as possible for the situation, we both set off for the royal wing of the castle. As we reach the entrance to the royal wing, I see two guards guarding the main entrance, a wolf and a bull. They give us a surprised look, both blocking us both. Lord Tenoch, Lord Eric, what a surprise to see you here so late. I request an audience with your majesties. I take note, my lord, the kings will be notified when they awaken. I fear we have no time to wait until then. I cannot wait their majesties unless it is an emergency. Good, because this is an emergency. In that case, you'll have to explain to me the reasons for it. Oh, by Argon. Listen, you got a choice. Either you go and warn Aeon and Lust now, or you explain to them why they had to wait all night to get a vital piece of information. Lord Tenoch, please understand that I do what they ask. If I were you, I doubt they'd be here at this hour without a good reason. We turned to look at Babel, who was staring at us quizzically. You were loud, it woke me up. Malcolm, go and tell my fathers that we are waiting for them in the council chamber. Very well, Lord Mayborn. The boy salutes the prince before disappearing into the corridor behind him, leaving the wolf as the only guard as we make our way to the council chamber. Do you mind if I ask what's going on? It will be easier to explain once everyone is here. Hope is really important. It is, I promise. The bear gives me a sidelong glance before quickly inspecting me from top to bottom. Are you okay? You look a bit shaken up. It's complicated. You'll understand better once we've explained everything. Are you sure it'll be alright? Yeah, don't worry about me. The rest of the way is spent in silence until we reach the council chamber